Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Protoss between two top level players where apparently our Terran player is already sending out an SCV as well as a second one. Although actually, nah, I think this is just gonna be a good old depot. There it is. Actually, well, great start to a video here, Lowko, where indeed the Terran player is sending out two SCVs to watch what seems to be the other side of the map. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Nightshade, one of the new maps that was recently added to StarCraft 2. We're looking inside of the main of Cure. Now Cure, I think, wants to start up a little bit aggressively. Indeed, builds up one barracks and I think a second one here as well, very close to the main base of the Protoss. Look at the timing here, minerals, pretty much perfect. Does indeed start up the second barracks right over here as well. Now, this probe scout is going to be very important. By the way, spawning here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the red Protoss probes. Likewise, also from South Korea, we have Zest. Now, this probe scout has to be on point, okay? So normally what Protoss players do is go for the gateway, go for the gas, go for the cybernetics core, and then the nexus on the low ground. Now, if he starts up the nexus on the low ground before starting up a zealot, and I'm assuming here that this probe is going to figure out that something is not quite right, he could be in a lot of trouble. He should start up the zealot first. So here's the cyber core. Probe scouting here on the other side of the map. Probe moving towards the low ground as well. He sees the lack of well, any structure on the top of that ramp, and zealot does start up. So nicely done there by Zest. Still decides to go for the pylon here immediately. I think this is also something that Cure is familiar with. He should know right now that a zealot is going to be underway. He could obviously still build a bunker. Nexus does get planted down very confidently. Zest actually saving some chrono boost right now as well. Probably wants to get himself, I'm assuming like a stalker out here as soon as possible. One of the SCVs already starts working together with Jimmy the Marine on that pylon. There's the zealot though. A couple of boys are pulled off the mineral line as well. Now with good target firing, even though this is mostly held here, Cure can still do a lot of damage. That was excellent. Get 3 of those workers already. Oh, the probes are trying to get the surround. Oh, well, is that going to be enough? Zealot obviously does now also join the fray. Reinforcing Marines, though, do come out, and a lot of workers fall. Both of the SCVs were also killed. Shield battery as a follow-up now, too. We do have that Stalker coming out, so I think this is going to be held here in just a little bit, but that's still 9 workers going down in the grand scheme of things. Now, obviously, Cure does delay the command center. As a matter of fact, there's no command center anywhere just yet, and with that second Nexus, even after losing a whole lot of workers, obviously, Zest can continue chrono boosting out a lot of those bad boys as well. So, even though the worker count right now heavily in favor here of the Terran, also, of course, because of the mules. Mules are insane. Look at the amount of minerals that are being harvested right now. It's almost double from what the Protoss is able to gather here. That command center, though, is super late. And obviously, for the next couple of minutes, Zest should be mostly uncontested. He still has a couple of those stalkers out as well. That zealot actually now also running across. There is a bunker on the top of the ramp. A couple of boys were pulled off the line here on the other side of the map, too. Zest tried to target fire them down. Not quite gonna happen. And even though he could continue harassing here for a little bit longer, I think he wants to start working here on one of those barracks. Potentially burn it down before it can make its way back towards the main base of the Terran. Okay. So, I wonder how this is going to play out right now. Pretty aggressive start here to this game. Cure also actually now sends out a Hellion pretty much immediately. Hellion is on a bit of a field trip. It's gonna go all the way around and probably try to make its way to the other side. In the meantime, though, we do see continued chrono boost here on those probes. And even though the worker count was heavily in favor of Terran just a couple of seconds ago, this is the moment where Zest can really start playing catch-up. This Hellion could actually be annoying, though. There's like no unit available here whatsoever. There's no units. Whoa, there's actually nothing. There's absolutely nothing available. He's been chrono boosting a lot as well. I love this. Actually, a really clever little move there by Cure. The shield battery, though, provides safety here for a while. Recall will be forced. So at the very least, that's going to make it a little bit easier here for Zest to defend. But that was still a pretty significant amount of damage. Plus, it gives a lot of leeway right now as well to Cure, who's finally left alone on his side of the map. Okay. 1 medevac. He's going to continue harassment here. 1 medevac filled up with 2 Widow Mines is now going to start moving across as well. Command center did finish here, so Cure can indeed continue building up additional SCVs, start dropping 2 of those yellow bad boys at once as well. He does make a small mistake here, and this actually hurts a lot. Ooh, that's really painful. Does have 2 of those SCVs on idle. Not harvesting the minerals, or the gas rather. Oh, let's see what these Widow Mines can do. They do get dropped out immediately. Good response here. Good pull. Oh, well, I say good pull, but somehow, some way, it felt like that one Widow Mine there had more distance than it should have. You needed to respond just a tad quicker, and 6 additional workers here go down. So that's 17 kills here in the first 5 minutes of the game. But all things considered, well, it's still pretty much even right now for Zest when it comes to that worker count. Obviously, though, because of those yellow mining machines, because of the mules, that is an advantage there for Terran. But usually we will see the third base going down quite a bit before Terran will go for the third base as well. I do think, though, that right now this is a successful opener for Cure, because, you know, you're not going to be able to break this very easily. Good scan there as well. Does figure out and see the little blip, the little shimmer, and kills the observer immediately. Now, this is going to allow Cure here also to transition comfortably towards that Marine Marauder Medivac mid-game. Now, this is cool. This is one of the things that we've been seeing, once again, by the way. This time around, it looks like not a whole lot of additional kills were made. Widow Mines were killed. And so does the Medivac. This is one of the things that we saw, this is what we saw Trap do quite a bit. So Trap has had a ridiculous win rate in Protoss versus Terran in particular. Definitely the best PvT throughout 2019. Basically smacking every single Terran player out there. He has been going for a lot of 2-base Colossus openers. So I think that's what's going to be the case right here as well. Obviously a bit of a different step to getting there. Bit of a different path. Third Nexus also goes down though, extended thermal lens. Also now gets researched, and Zest is going to be able to start a little bit of harassment over here. Now, no blink available, so these Stalkers can just harass like they normally do. They force out a stim pack, no concussive shell though. And even though one Stalker might go down, I think this is going to be okay. Should be fine. Man, he's going to continuously harass. So, this is a new map like I mentioned earlier, right? So, Nightshade has been added very recently. It's very pretty. It's a nice map, good layout. It's a little bit smaller than the average map in the previous map pool, which I think is going to be a nice thing to especially Terran and Protoss players. The Zerg players, at the very least, most of them do prefer playing on a larger map. Now, this was a very good scout. That observer did see exactly what's going on. Good response as well. Blink still not available. He does manage to now burrow the Widow Mines, but shouldn't be too many kills. In the meantime, though, all of the Terran units are actually stimming across the map as well. One laser giraffe already available. Second one now also joining the fray. Medivac once again goes down. Much better defense right here for Zest this time around. He's relentless. He's like, you know what? You gave me a lot of worker kills in the first couple of minutes, okay? Give me some more. Don't be a jerk about it. With extended thermal lens, though, finishing in a little bit, this is going to make the defense very easy. Especially marine-based armies like this one right here will just be zapped away at. Oh, well. That Medivac won't make it. Looks like, well, maybe one probe will go down. Maybe a second one. Observer, though, will join the fray. And it is indeed gonna allow these Stalkers to outrange the Widow Mines. Widow Mines. Widow Memes? Both work. Third command center being constructed on spot. And this is the moment in the game where it's probably gonna slow down a little bit, okay? So we've had both players try their very best to deal some damage to the other, especially obviously Cure really playing aggressively. But I don't really see Zest pushing for a really aggressive move out here anytime soon. He just secured himself the third base. He's still making probes for that one as well. He's getting a lot of upgrades, so this is also really not allowing him to move out right now. Maybe with a couple of units, but really not with like an all-out push. And likewise also for the Terran, he needs to start up a counter right at this point in the game to watch those Colossus. Right, so he started up 3 Vikings here. So 3 Vikings being produced at once. Not sure why it's 3 and not 4. I guess it's intentional, but... well, it has to be intentional, right, at this level of player, but... no, actually, he does start up a 4th right now. Ha! I found a mistake. Other than the gases over here, I found a second mistake. Amazing. I can almost play Terran at the same level now, because I'm an armchair Terran top pro gamer. This is just how it goes, guys. When you recognize mistakes... that it is also immediately gonna mean that you are gonna be able to play better than them. I'm pretty sure that's how the math works out. Anyways, it is gonna be a transition right now towards the Psionic Storm as well, so one source of splash damage, not quite gonna be enough. And speaking of splash damage, we see Ghost coming out here. So Cure, even though he didn't quite see exactly what's going on, he does expect what's going to be the next transition. And obviously, even without like having High Templar to EMP, you can still definitely make use of that new ability there. Well, I say new because it was added relatively new, about a half year ago or so to StarCraft 2. It basically increases the radius of the EMP and therefore also the range of EMP. Because you can safely EMP the units from a little bit further away. If you can blanket the Protoss army with the EMP, you can indeed reduce their shields, or in some cases even remove them. Now Zest apparently wants to go for every single source of splash damage out there, okay? Get a couple of Archons as well, dude. So you've got Colossus, you've got High Templar, now you have Disruptors as well. Get a couple of Archons, and I think that's it. I think that's all of the sources of splash damage that Protoss has. I mean, not you guys, though. Not you guys, because we need a couple of High Templar there, too. Actually, there's 4 of them in total. We can morph in 1 Archon and get every single type of splash. And I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if he decides to add on a couple of Archon here in a little bit. Now, this makes it very difficult for the Terran player to push in. You can see right now that the supply count will go heavily in favor of Terran, but Protoss army, generally speaking, eventually will be more powerful until Protoss makes, or rather Terran makes the transition towards like their late game army. And the late game army usually consists of a lot of Liberators. We may very well arrive at that point here in a little bit where Cure wants to start adding on Liberators as well. Obviously, he doesn't know precisely what he is going up here, but both players here, for the most part, are just sitting back. You can see Zest also playing extremely safe, adding on a couple of photon cannons too. Slowly transitions towards the 5th. Probably isn't even expecting to have this one up, but you can see here on that mini-map, he's got a lot of scouting units all over the map. Look at those speedy boys. It still surprises me how fast they are with the new patch. They're so quick, right? I love it. It's such a good change. It's so much better. They actually pushed out a new patch a couple of hours ago as well. That essentially reverts a couple of the changes. Well, it's only one change actually that wasn't reverted. The one to the Glaive Adepts. I haven't seen any Adepts, especially not with their Glaive upgrade, ever since the new patch. So that one has been changed. And they've also actually buffed up Microbial Shroud, which is the new Infestor ability. Obviously not particularly relevant for this game, but Microbial Shroud's radius is now a little bit bigger. I believe it doesn't need the Hive research anymore either, and I believe it's been pushed down to 75 energy instead. So it's a little bit cheaper. Some upgrades right there, and then, well, nice storms there. Although, ooh, the Colossus actually doesn't fall. Colossus actually lives. Only 18 hit points remaining. In the meantime, though, also a drop here inside of the main base. A big Stalker warp in. Certainly going to prevent this army from getting out of there. Matter of fact, gets sniped, but a little bit of damage will continue to be dealt. Cure is going to try and move forward as well, but, ooh, good blink. Does manage to get underneath a couple of those Vikings. A few of them will be killed. Now, this is going to be the moment, though, where Cure starts to transition towards those Liberators. We also do have the Advanced Ballistics upgrade coming up inside of that Fusion Core. Upgrade has been moved over to the Fusion Core with the new multiplayer balance patch. It's actually a very smooth transition right now. Back in the day, it was a little bit awkward because you needed 1 starport with a tech lab and then 1 starport with a reactor. Right now, though, it's actually a pretty big buff. You can start producing 4 of those Liberators at once, which really does help with the late-game transition, and it's one of my favorite changes again as well. It doesn't sound very significant, but it really makes the game much smoother to play for Terran. Doesn't affect too much, obviously, at the highest level, but it feels nicer. Just add on the Fusion Core, get yourself the Advanced Ballistics. That's the ranged upgrade for the Liberators, and go from there. Stargate's coming up right now as well for Zest. Wouldn't be surprised for him to go towards Tempest here in a little bit. They are going to be the counter, obviously, to those Liberators once again. But here we go. Ooh. Wow, that poor Zealot. Zest really wants to push the issue right now. Especially when Terran is on the retreat, but there's the Liberation Zones. The Liberators are very difficult to push into. Especially like once it goes up to like 8 and then like 12, right? Like the multiples get pretty out of hand pretty fast. 12 is much harder to engage into than like 9, which it would have been in the previous patch. Well, unless he starts producing. Maybe this is just like an old habit, right? Like you're not gonna have the resources to necessarily produce 4 at once. Anyways, this did buy a lot of time here for Cure to now also take his expansion up here, as well as the one towards the south. He's essentially maxed out right now, so he is gonna go ahead and just build up additional command centers, so you can get rid of those SCVs here in a little bit as well. A lot of additional orbital commands are built, as he can start transitioning towards a mule-based mineral income here instead. Alright, so the fleet beacon has been added on as well. We see triple Stargate. Once again, skirmish here in the middle of the map. Ooh. Trying his very best to shoot some pot shots right there at the Terran army, but not quite getting a whole lot done. Good dodging here by Cure. At the same time, there was a small hit squad as well at the northern section of the map, but I mean, there's a few High Templar there, a whole lot of Zealots, a couple of photon cannons too. I don't think he's going to be able to achieve too much. Great scan there as well. Zest High Templar that we're moving forward. Ooh, good splits actually on them as well. Try their very best to get something done. Feedback and snipes being utilized left and right. Although I've got a feeling that this High Templar as well will not live to tell the tale. Zest actually now finds himself in a bit of a curious position as the Terran army is now between him and, well, the Terran army right here on the left-hand side and the planetary fortress on the right. He can actually get into a pretty good spot. Now, big EMPs, though, do land. That does mean that the Protoss army is going to be quite a bit weaker once again. Disruptor Purification Novas do get thrown forward. Vikings still shooting away at this army to the best of their abilities. Good fight here, I think, all things considered for Cure. Even though he was caught at a bit of a weird angle, he's going to be able to force that Protoss army back, but Zest didn't lose all too much. He's now adding on 3 Tempests at once. There's already a couple of them available here too. Those Tempests are going to be incredible when it comes to fighting air-to-air in particular. They have insane range when it comes to like picking up those Liberators. I think that's also the reason why we do see the transition back towards Vikings here. Obviously, Vikings still very helpful. Okay. So Cure realizes, I've got enough units here at home to defend. I should be able to keep this Protoss army at bay until the Tempest join the fray. Wouldn't mind seeing him move up north and try to go after maybe these bases over here, although, this is such a difficult area to push into. At the same time, the Zealot Stalker Ball now made its way towards the bottom left-hand corner. Both players trying to out-macro each other, out-control each other as well. But you can see here, this is where those Tempests are insane. They have a lot more range air-to-air than they do air-to-ground. So they can pick up those Liberators very easily. Good blink forward as well, gets a couple of them. At the same time, we do have now the Terran army moving towards the top right-hand corner. Cure manages to force the Council there on that Nexus. Still though, I mean, you're not going to be able to get too much done over here, right? I mean, unless that High Templar has a death wish. Ooh, close call. Close call. We do see him continuously harassing here too. I guess that Zest really wants to take this base. I'm not entirely sure why he necessarily wants this base though. It feels like he could rather take the one over here instead, but we do have the Tempest slowly advancing through the center of the map. Question is though, is there enough Protoss right now? Disruptor Balls once again get dodged really nicely. Excellent micro there actually from Cure. Really difficult to play that style. Obviously, he's been doing this for many years right now, practicing his bio control for a very long time already. And this is, I guess, the moment where Cure smells blood in the water. He wants to start moving forward. Now, reinforcing some of this army as well is Zest. A lot of Zealots come running from the northern section of the map. The Vikings now actually land too. Zest overextended for just a little bit. Cure out-microed him for just a little bit as well. Didn't take any damage from those Purification Novas, and all of a sudden, the Protoss army melted. That Protoss army just disappeared. That's insane. Right now, the Vikings can start shooting away at those Tempests. Liberators can move forward as well, get into a really powerful position. And just like that, even though it felt like this game was gonna go on for at least another 10 minutes, just like that, you make one misstep and Cure will punish you immediately. Whew. That micro there actually against those Disruptor Balls was very, very, very good. I mean, a weaker Terran player would have easily lost all their units right then and there, right? I mean, I would have certainly lost all of my Marines and Marauders to, like, one of those Disruptor Balls. Somehow, some way, magically managed to box all of them just within the range of one Purification Nova. But Cure microed extremely well there and saw an opportunity and took it. Really nicely done there by the Terran player. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I will see you once again in the next one.